Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are Southwest.
Well, the Rangers going back to work at Kauffman Stadium here in Kansas City. What's happened before is water under the bridge. Tonight, they try to get back on the winning side of things with 8 games left in the season as they take on the Kansas City Royals. And welcome along, everyone, with Tom Greaves, Steve Busby. Glad you could join us for this Saturday night of Ranger baseball in a big game for the Rangers. They need to get back on the winning side of things. They need to keep pace with the teams ahead of them in the wild card race. And, Tom, they've got Matt Garza going for them tonight. Admittedly, Matt has not pitched the way he would like to, but that can all change tonight.
It definitely can, Buzz, and it's, as you said, it's not what's gone before, it's what happens now. And I think the one thing that he has tried to concentrate on when he's worked with Mike Maddox is to not think too much on the mound. Don't overanalyze it. Let his natural ability shine through. We don't have a more intense competitor than Matt Garza. No one wants to succeed more than he does. But you're right. He hasn't pitched the way he's capable of pitching. He's got a couple of more starts to make up for it. And I think if he does what Mike and he have talked about, simplify things, let your natural ability shine through, the ability is there to get the job done.
There you go. There's no doubt about that, and the Rangers would love to see Matt Garza get back to the basics here tonight and pitch the way he was capable of. Well, Ranger fans in abundance here at Kauffman Stadium. We will have game number 2 coming up for you after this on Fox Sports Southwest. Texas Rangers baseball on Fox Sports Southwest is brought to you by the Built Ford Tough sales event at your Texas Ford dealer. Ford is the best in Texas. By AT&T UVerse TV. Check availability at 1-800-PIC-ATT. Rethink possible. And by Progressive. Visit Progressive.com today. Well, a beautiful evening here in Kansas City. An early fall in the upper Midwest. And the sellout crowd on hand here tonight. It's Fan Appreciation Night. And the Rangers would like to have their efforts appreciated by all the Ranger fans in attendance. Let's head down to the field and say hello to John Radigan. John?
Yeah, Buzz, you mentioned that sellout crowd, and I'm feeling it in the pit of my gut. I talked to some of the players, including David Murphy, before the game, wondering if they felt the playoff atmosphere already.
It did feel like a playoff atmosphere with the intensity in the ballpark last night, and I feel like the intensity that we've been bringing lately has matched that of a playoff game. So we're going to continue to do that, and hopefully things will work out in our favor. And it'd be nice to say that we reel off 9 straight and get to where we want to be, but right now we're just going to take it a game at a time.
Our Geico quote of the day from David Murphy: that's the only way to do it. You can't win 9 until you win 1. The Rangers will try to do that next. We'll be back with the lineups and the first pitch as we get you ready for sellout baseball in Kansas City next on Fox Sports Southwest.
Is proudly presented by Southwest. Is proudly presented by AT&T UVerse TV. Well, the Royals have taken the field here tonight. A very comfortable evening here at Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City. Rangers and Royals getting set to hook it up in Game 2. Here's the Rangers starting lineup delivered by Fred Loya Insurance. Ian Kinsler leads off. Elvis Anderson next, followed by Alex Rios and Adrian Beltre. A.J. Brzezinski bats 5th. Mitch Moreland at first base hitting 6th. Craig Gentry is in left. David Murphy is the DH tonight. And batting 9th, the center fielder, Leonis Martin.
Our Auto Nation scouting report for Jeremy Guthrie, tonight's starting pitcher for the Royals. Having a nice season, 14-11, one of his best seasons. 4.08 ERA, given up 28 home runs, tied for 5th most in the American League. 2 or fewer walks in 11 of his last 12 starts. He's not a big strikeout pitcher. He does give up a lot of hits. He's been plagued a little bit by the home run ball. But he also keeps the ball down throws 92, 94-ish usually, sometimes a little higher, and gets a lot of ground balls. He's got a good sinking fastball.
Well, Guthrie, who has already established a new career high with those 14 wins, looking for number 15, and he will take on the Rangers tonight as Texas tries to rebound from a difficult 2-1 loss in last night's game at the hands of these Royals. So Tampa Bay has already won today. The Rangers need to win to keep pace. Cleveland, who is immediately in front of the Rangers, is leading 3-0 early in the ball game against Houston. First pitch is a strike to Ian Kinsler. Ian at the plate, a .273 hitter with 12 home runs and 66 driven in. You see multiple hits in 6 of his last 10 games as Guthrie misses a bit low for ball 1. 73 degrees at game time. Light breeze drifting out toward left field tonight. Guthrie back to the plate and gets strike 2. Mentioned last night with the weather the way it was, a very cool evening. The ball didn't carry very well. Tonight may be a different story. Ball may carry a lot better here this evening. 2-2 now as Kinsler leans on that slider. Rangers come in at 83-70 tonight. And Kinsler lines one to right center field. That is down and up the alley. It's going all the way to the wall. Kinsler to second. He is going for 3. Here comes the relay throw. The slide. He is safe at third base. Ian Kinsler, the leadoff triple to right center. What a way to start things off here tonight for the Rangers.
There's a lot of room, as you well know, Buzz, out there between left center field and right center field. And if a fast runner can shoot the ball in the gap between the outfielders, you have a pretty good chance to get a triple in this ballpark. That sinking fastball came back. He's trying to throw it on the outside corner. It came back toward the middle of the plate. And Ian just laced it into right center field for that triple. The Rangers trying to get on the board first.
Well, here's Elvis, and he takes a strike on the inside corner, taken all the way, and Guthrie gets ahead of the count. So the Royals, here in the first inning, playing their infield back. They will concede the run for an out. And ball 1 is inside. You get a look at the defense. Even the first baseman, Eric Hosmer, is back beyond the bag. Up even with the bag, Mike Moustakas at third. In the dirt, and a nice stop by Salvador Perez. 2-1 to Elvis, who's hitting .270. 4 home runs, 64 driven in. That RBI total continues to climb. .378 hitter. Recently with runners in scoring position. Ground ball is short. That'll get the run home. Kinsler scores as Escobar throws out Andrus. And just like that, a triple and a ground out. The Rangers lead 1-0.
That's what you want to do. Hit the ball toward the middle of the field with the infield back like that. Same thing as a sacrifice fly. Giving you a run if you can basically put the ball in play. That's exactly what Elvis did. The Rangers get on the board first. Good start in the first inning.
Well, here's Alex Rios now, a .276 hitter. 0-1. Alex leading the team with 4 home runs this month. He takes on the outside corner. Slider from Guthrie. He's down in the count now. Alex at 0-2. Rios 17 home runs and 72 RBI. 1-2. The Rangers jumped out in front in last night's ball game also. That was in the second inning. Well, tonight it'll be up to Matt Garza to see if he can't throw the shutdown inning up there in the first. 2-2 to Rios. Guthrie to the wide. The right-hander deals. And the count has gone full. So Alex, a patient at bat, goes from down in the count to having a full count. He is trying to get aboard with 1 out. He'll be followed by Adrian Beltre. Payoff pitch is on the way. Chopper to third, Moustakas across the diamond. That is out number 2. There's that heavy sinker you were talking about, Tom. Even on 3 and 2, it's tough to lift that Guthrie fastball in the air.
Yeah, that's one thing good about a sinker ball pitcher. I mean, you may anticipate a fastball, but if it has good sinking action to it, it doesn't mean you're going to have great success, because more often than not, you're going to hit the ball on the ground. You might roll a single through the infield.
Beltre shoots one up the middle into center field, a base hit. Well, everybody else had gone up and taken the first pitch, and Adrian says, nope, not me. Got to pitch up a little bit on the inner part of the plate, and bangs a single into center, the second Rangers hit of the inning.
There's a play like ball like this last night that Escobar against Elvis made the play on. That ball looked like it was headed into center field easily, and it was that time. He got jammed a little bit, hit a little bit harder than Elvis hit the one last night. Escobar, I think, surprised Elvis and everybody else when he got to it and made the play at first base.
First pitch to Przinsky is outside and low for ball 1. AJ at 278, 17 home runs, drove in his 65th run of the year last night. Got Beltre here at first, and a chopper foul evens the count, and a ball and a strike. AJ is going to have to get a new piece of lumber as that one cracked on that foul ball. Przinsky drove in the only Ranger run last night in a similar situation in the second inning. Had Beltre at first and hit a ball that looked for all the world like it was out of the ballpark, but hit the very top of the wall in deepest right center field. High and tight, and the count goes to 2-1. They'll run across here on the Ranger first. Beltre a very modest lead from first base, and Przinsky pops it up. Shallow left center field. You got Gordon, the left fielder, coming over to make the catch. And that'll do it. But the Rangers get a run. On a couple of hits, they lead one. After a half inning, it's the Rangers 1. The Royals coming up. He heads to the bottom of the first inning. And the lineup that he will face tonight for Kansas City has Alex Gordon leading off. Emilio Bonifacio is next, and Eric Hosmer. Billy Butler, the DH, bats cleanup. Salvador Perez catches. Mike Moustakas at third. Lorenzo Cain is batting seventh, playing right field. Gerard Dyson is in center, and Alcides Escobar bats ninth and plays shortstop.
And our progressive scouting report for tonight's starter, Matt Garza. 9-6 with 22 starts. 11 starts for the Cubs, 11 starts for the Rangers. His last 5 starts, though, have not gone well as a Ranger. 0-4 with a 5.83 ERA. Less than 5 innings pitched in each of his last 2 starts. He's had 11 starts for the Cubs, 11 starts for the Rangers, 71 innings for each team. And he's trying to go out and break a streak where he has not pitched past the 5th inning in his last 2 starts, and a longer streak where he's having a hard time giving up less than 4 runs.
For the Rangers defensively, Gentry, Martin, and Rios left, center, right. Speedy outfield. Moreland at first, Kenzo Hernandez up the middle, Beltre at third. A.J. Brzezinski is catching tonight. And Matt Garza, the 29-year-old Californian, is on the hill. Here's Alex Gordon. And the first pitch from Garza is outside for ball 1. Gordon, a .269 hitter as he faces Garza. 20 home runs, 80 runs driven in. 1 ball and 1 strike after the foul ball. Matt has not gotten past the 4th inning in each of his last 2 starts. So a lot of incentive for him to really go out and pitch well tonight. Plus, we're down to just 8 ball games, including 9 left. Well, this is kind of the time of the year where you better get it together. Gordon to center field. Going back, Leonis Martin. He has a pretty good path to it and makes the grab for out number 1. Gordon hit it hard, but that's a big part of the ballpark out there.
That ball was going to bounce out of Martin's glove. Hit right in the pocket of his glove and got trapped right in the webbing of his glove.
Semi-snow cone, huh?
Yeah, pretty close.
Well, it goes down as out number 1, however, and now Emilio Bonifacio will come up. Bonifacio, the switch hitter, acquired from the Blue Jays in the middle of August. And he has been a big part of this Royals offense of late. 244 is average overall. 3 out of 7, as you can see. His career mark against Matt Garza. As Garza fires a strike, it's 0-1. Bonifacio joined the Royals on August the 14th. Brings a 5-game hitting streak into play tonight. There's that big slow hook. And it drops in. 0-2. Garza to the wide. The 0-2 pitch is pulled well foul. Bonifacio, the kind of a slap type hitter, does have some power, but he's a slicer going up there, flipping the ball all over the ballpark. Likes to get on base, has very, very good speed. 27 stolen bases. Chopper foul down the first base side. And the count remains no balls and 2 strikes. Bonifacio here in his home ballpark now has hit .333 as a member of the Royals and a .411 on base percentage at Kauffman Stadium. Garza okays the sign, the right-hander to the wide. And that one's slapped out of play to the left. Bonifacio, a switch hitter up there from the left side against the right-hander Garza. This year, Bonifacio, a .308 hitter as a lefty batter and .280 from the right side. Up the mound, over second base, into center field, a base hit. And Bonifacio, a very aggressive turn at first, but Leonis Martin got to the ball and kept him from advancing. 1 on, 1 out. Eric Hosmer coming up.
Oh, you're talking about Bonifacio being a good base stealer. He's been a lot better as a base stealer with Kansas City. But one of the things we highlighted in the pregame show is how well the Ranger catchers have been throwing. AJ, Giovanni, 3rd best percentage in the American League gunning down runners. Last night, Giovanni gunned down Jason Maxwell at 3rd base for the last out of an inning. You have to think that Bonifacio, if he feels like he can get a jump, could be going here.
Hosmer at the plate, and he gets fisted and fouls it straight back. It is 0-1. Hosmer last night a 2-hit night, a multi-hit game for the young first baseman, his 58th of the year. And that average for him continuing to climb. It's up to 304 now. He has really become a major force in the Royals order. Bonifacio the lead from first as Garza goes that way with a quick throw, and Bonifacio dives back. Bonifacio on the base paths, 27 out of 35 in the stolen base category. And Osborne hits a towering pop-up over to take a look. A.J. Pierzynski, and right at the railing, makes the catch. I don't think A.J. saw that right away. He had to put on a little bit of a burst of speed to get over, and made the catch reaching over the railing.
That's such a tough play to go with a ball directly over your head like that. Has a long way to go. You've got all the equipment on. Got to get rid of your mask. Look straight up. And then contend with a railing right in front of the dugout. Well, that's a very nice play. Jackie Moore better be careful. That ball comes back. It's directly on top of him.
And Jackie was going to help A.J. out if he could.
He was, even if it meant taking one for the team.
Well, that is a big out. Yeah, very big second out. Bonifacio still at first. Here is Billy Butler, the DH. First pitch to him is outside for ball one. Butler, another solid year, and he has been a rock here for the Royals over the last 6 or 7 years. 292 his season average. He has enjoyed hitting against Matt Garza to the tune of a 400 average. 2-0. Butler 1 for 4 last night. Brings in a 4-game hitting streak. 6 out of 15, as you can see, with a double and an RBI. Rangers leading 1-0. Matt Garza trying to put up a shutdown inning here in the bottom of the first. In the dirt, Dan Pierzynski down to block it. The count is 3-0. Garza being careful with Butler. If he loses him and the inning continues, Salvador Perez, hot hitting catcher, is in the on-deck circle. Ron Washington trying to hopefully get his veteran right-hander to get the job done here tonight. Matt Garza. Look at the American League leaders, and Butler drives one to right field toward the line and back. Alex Rios runs it down, and on 3-0, Butler lines hard to right field. That will do it. No runs, a hit, 1 left. We've finished 1. It's the Rangers 1, the Royals 0 on Fox Sports Southwest. The Texas Ranger Baseball Foundation is proud to support 3 Just Keep Living programs at high schools in North Texas. The students focus on healthy eating, exercise, and community service. For more information on the programs, visit texasrangers.com/foundation. Top of the second inning, it'll be Mitch Moreland, Craig Gentry, and David Murphy. The first 3 Rangers to do the swinging against Jeremy Guthrie. Guthrie threw 20 pitches in the first inning, giving up a run on a couple of hits. And now he'll face Moreland, who steps in batting at .237. 0-1 the count. Mitch, 23 home runs, 58 RBI. Both those are new career highs. And Mitch has had a little bit of experience against Guthrie, 2 for 9 in his career. Takes inside to even the count. Rangers, Ian Kinsler lead off triple in the first inning. Elvis Andrews immediately brought him home with the ground out. Little jam shot pop up to shallow left. Escobar, the shortstop, called for the fair catch and put it away, out number 1. Now Craig Gentry will come up.
I thought Craig might play last night. We were talking about Craig in Tampa. He had that great game, last game in Tampa. Wash trying to have some matchups last night with a lot of left-hand hitters. Trying to find a combination that will click. Decided to give Craig the start tonight against the righty.
Gentry coming off that 4 for 5 performance in Tampa Bay. 1 ball, no strikes. So Gentry now at .259. Season high of 4 hits. Oh, the Ranger left fielder. Up the middle, headed towards center field. Diving stop by Escobar. The throw is too late. Anybody but Craig Gentry is thrown out on the Rangers team.
I can't believe he made the play that close with Craig running. He can definitely play some shortstop, and he's got a strong arm. Fortunately, it was Craig running. He continues to get his hits, make things happen. So it's a different kind of lineup with Craig in it. He brings other things to the party. You know, you've got a left fielder with great speed and a good arm. Helps defensively, and when he can get on base, he can make things happen on the bases.
Well, excellent. With the 4th play in the last 2 days that we've seen Escobar make, he is a very talented shortstop. David Murphy takes on the outside corner for strike 1. Murph a double in 3 trips last night. The average still at .220. 3 for 12 in David's career against Guthrie. And a quick throw to first. Guthrie, as you can see, a very quick move to first base. He has extremely quick feet. He also has the ability to make a real short snap throw. Doesn't extend his arm very far back making the throw to first. That makes it doubly tough on the runners. Murphy slices one to left field. Gordon back and toward the line, still going, reaches up and makes the catch. Back to first goes Gentry. Murphy hit that ball a little further than it looked like coming off the bat. He sent Gordon almost to the track down the line. But that is out number 2, and now Leonis Martin coming up.
Yeah, and Gordon has been recognized the last couple of years as the best defensive left fielder in the American League, so it's not a surprise to see him run a ball down out there. Also throws well for a left fielder.
Now we'll see now with Martin up there if Gentry tries to get himself into scoring position with a stolen base. Inside, ball 1. Leonis bluffing a bunt. That made Moustakas, the third baseman, sneak down the line a couple of steps. Martin, last 4 ball games, started to heat things up again. As the very speedy Craig Gentry getting the lead at first. And a fly ball to left center field. Dyson, the center fielder, into the alley, makes the grab. And that will do it. So Gentry's 1-out single goes to waste. 1 left on. We're going to the bottom of the second. 1-0 Rangers. Well, it's time now for the AT&T Twitter poll. And our question of you tonight: which team is the most surprising to you this season? How about the Boston Red Sox? They have won the division after being picked to finish last. If you think it's them, go to Twitter and throw in their hashtag FS Red Sox. How about Kansas City? These Royals just 2.5 games back in the wild card, their first winning season. Hashtag FS Royals or hashtag FS Dodgers if you think it's Don Mattingly's group, or the Buccos, the Pirates of Clint Hurdle. Hashtag FS Pirates, first winning season since 1992 in Pittsburgh. Salvador Perez starting things off here in the Royals' second inning. Rangers on top 1-0. Perez takes ball 1. 291 the average for the young catcher. 11 home runs, 73 RBI. 1-1. Perez on a pretty good hot streak now as the Rangers go down the stretch drive. 385 in his 7-game hitting streak. That ball's hammered to left field. If it's fair, it's gone. It's hooking and foul. Oh, just missing the pole. Salvador Perez, in a bid to tie this ball game, will have to come back and take another swing.
Perez is a really good contact hitter. That angle shows you that it was pretty foul. From our angle, I thought it was fair.
Well, the count 1-2.
He's a guy, we talked last night about how Escobar never walks. Escobar's only walked 19 times. Perez has only walked 21 times, but he's only struck out 59 times.
It's a hard hit. Boy, Moreland knocks it down. He'll underhand the Garza covering. And that will be out number 1. So from just foul to just out. 1 away, and Mike Moustakas will come up.
His bat ended up out near the mound.
He flipped it out there.
Yeah. He's probably a little upset that he hit the ball this hard. Oh, he kicked it out there. Wondered how it got that far.
He tried to trip himself. That was fouling it.
Spinning in the air, and look at that thing. He dropped it normally. He just had a little bit of spin to it. And then he propelled it out there with his legs.
Mike Moustakas, the third baseman for Kansas City, takes inside a breaking ball. 1 ball and no strikes. Moustakas, 235, 11 home runs, 41 RBI. And he, like many of the Royals, hitting better in the month of September, at least in the last month and a half. Pops this one up to Adrian Beltre. That is out number 2.
Good changeup right there by Matt Garza. Trying to have a nice quick inning. Rangers didn't have many quick innings yesterday. Low scoring game, but a lot of base runners for Kansas City. Ranger pitchers, especially Martin Perez, seemed like they were pitching out of 2 men on jams every inning.
Yeah, Garza able to get through the first inning in 15 pitches, and he has 2 fairly quick outs here in the second. Lorenzo Cain, the right fielder, now steps in. Shows bunt, and it is a strike. 0-1. Cain, who started in center field last night against the left-hander Martin Perez, moved over to right field when Gerard Dyson came into the ball game defensively. And tonight, starting in right field as Dyson is in center. To right field, toward the line and in quite a few steps. And Alex Rios takes care of it. So it is a 1-2-3 inning for Matt Garza and the Rangers. We're going to the third. Rangers 1, Royals 0. 11 years. Join millions of fans and subscribe today. Watch every out-of-market game live online on your favorite mobile and connected devices in HD quality with MLB.TV Premium. Visit MLB.TV today. MLB.TV, it's baseball everywhere. Top of the order to face Jeremy Guthrie here in the third inning. Rangers on top 1-0, and the man who scored the run in the first, Ian Kinsler, leads off. Kinsler, a drive into right center field that went to the wall for a triple. Came around to score on Elvis's infield ground out. 1-1 the count here.
And Guthrie's thrown now 200 innings. Third Royals pitcher this year to have 200 innings. James Shields, Irvin Santana have both thrown at least 200 innings. First time, though, since 1997 that the Royals have had 3 pitchers who have thrown 200 innings or more. He's also trying to become a 15-game winner. There's only been several of those since 1997.
Moustakas, a bullet, plays it nicely on a hop. And Kinsler is retired for out number 1.
There's Irvin Santana on the left, James Shields. We'll see James Shields tomorrow. And Santana was terrific last night. He had a 92, 93 mile an hour fastball with good command and a good slider. When he's on with his slider, he's generally going to pitch a pretty tough game. And he had his slider working last night.
Now 1 away on Kinsler's ground out. Now here's Elvis, who drove in his 65th run of the year with that ground ball to shortstop. Takes the breaking ball that hangs inside for ball 1. Next pitch to him, off speed and low. 2 balls, no strikes. Elvis now 32 RBI since the 1st of August. That's the best on the ball club. He takes that pitch a little off the mark. It is 3-0. So Elvis trying to get aboard with 1 out. Alex Rios will be next. Ball 4. 4-pitch walk. Elvis is aboard. And here comes Rios. First walk allowed tonight by Guthrie.
Now, Guthrie had an interesting year last year. He started out in Colorado, went 3-9 with a 6.35 ERA. Colorado and Kansas City made a trade, traded 2 struggling pitchers. Guthrie came here and pitched great. 5-3 ERA, a little bit over 3 from 91 innings. Ended up getting a nice long-term contract. It's kind of rejuvenated his career coming over here to Kansas City.
And Jonathan Sanchez going the other way from here to Colorado didn't.
No, I don't even know where he is right now.
Well, he didn't get a long-term contract. Let's put it that way.
I was going to say who the other pitcher was, but I forgot. Thanks for bringing that name up for me.
1-0 pitch, and that is a bit low. So all of a sudden, Jeremy Guthrie having a little trouble nailing the strike zone down. And Ned Yost, a former catcher himself, and trying to figure out what to say to his starting pitcher out there. Ball 3. Rios taking all the way the first 3 pitches, and he has gotten ahead of the count. Rios to be followed by Adrian Beltre. 1 on, 1 out here in the top of the 3rd inning. Rangers trying to add to their 1-0 lead. Runner going from first to throw to second. And it's ball 4.
Oh, got a break right there.
Yeah. Well, the home plate umpire, Jim Wolf, didn't immediately signal anything. He might have said something, but Salvador Perez didn't hear it. As Perez threw a bullet to second base that, had it not been ball 4, would have gotten Elvis by a little bit.
Yeah, it looked like it was pretty close to being a strike. It tailed inside right at the end. Boy, that kid is some kind of catcher.
Yep.
That was not a simple ball to catch and throw. He had to reach down to his left. Close pitch, called the ball, and man, he gunned that thing to second base. He's one of those hitters that can hit the ball from foul line to foul line. Contact hitter with power. Big, strong kid. They got a good one right there.
So back-to-back walks now. The Rangers have runners at first and second. Beltre who singled to center his first time, tries to pick him up, and he takes outside for ball one. There's 9 consecutive pitches out of the strike zone. A little surprised that Perez hasn't gone out to the mound to give Guthrie a little bit of a chance to catch his breath. There's a strike.
A lot of breaking balls from Guthrie.
Adrian Beltre tied with Pie Traynor for 113th on the all-time list as he takes a little bit low. It's 2-1.
One of the things that's happening to him on some of those balls inside to the right-hand hitters is they just have so much movement. Looks like they're going to be strikes, and then they just zip right out of the strike zone inside to the right-hand hitters.
Up the middle, under the glove, over the bag, into center field. Elvis coming around third, will score. On to third goes Alex Rios. And boy, you talk about a seeing eye single. Adrian Beltre had that going.
I think what happened, Buzz, I think the ball hit the base, and instead of coming up to the infielder, skipped right through his legs. He's anticipating a bounce, but then when the ball hit the bag, it just stayed down on him. Skims on the bag and looked like it picked up speed and shot right through his legs.
Good call. That really did.
Just slid right by him. Guthrie had a chance for it. Bonifacio had a chance for it. And Rangers score on it.
The bag had a chance for it.
The bag did get it.
No, the Rangers take a 2-0 lead. Beltre gets his 88th RBI of the year. And still just one out. Runners at the corners. A throw to third. And Rios back. Well, Perez led the league last year in catcher pickoffs, and he has been at it again, although the word got around pretty quickly, so it's a little bit tough to catch people by surprise anymore if you're Salvador Perez. So a 2-0 Ranger lead. Runners at first and third. Brzezinski, a fly ball his first time, and he's going to have a fly ball again. Gordon trying to get himself in position to throw. Tagging at third, and coming down the line is Alex Rios. The throw is cut off, but into second goes Beltre. In to score is Rios, and A.J. Brzezinski with a sac fly makes it a 3-0 Ranger lead.
He's a Gold Glove left fielder, but that was not a smart throw. He's got no chance to throw Alex Rios out at the plate. Now, he's thrown more people out on the bases than almost any other outfielder, but there's a time to try and a time not to try, and all he did was let Adrian get into scoring position with that high fly that he threw into home plate that had no chance to get the runner. Just catch the ball and throw it to second base, and you keep the guy from getting on second base. Now, hopefully, Mitch Moreland brings him in.
So both the walks that Guthrie allowed in this inning have come around to score. One on a single by Beltre, one on a sacrifice fly by Brzezinski. And now 2 outs with Beltre at second. Here's Mitch. And he takes high and inside for ball one.
The one thing, Buzz, right off the bat in 3 innings today, the Rangers have gotten a man in from third base 2 out of 2 times with less than 2 outs. So that's good to see. Ground ball with the infield back and a fly ball to get that run in.
Outside, breaking ball hung away. It is 2-0 to Moreland. Yeah, and we've talked about that being a kind of a sore point for the Rangers during their time that they were not scoring runs. And they have gotten the little things done here tonight so far.
Guthrie's only thrown 6 first pitch strikes so far in the game.
And Moreland hits it off the end of the bat out to Bonifacio. On to first, that'll do it. But the Rangers get a couple of runs on 1 hit and 2 walks. They strand 1. After 2.5, it's now the Rangers 3 and the Royals nothing. Southwest is brought to you by the Built Ford Tough Sales Event at your Texas Ford dealer. Ford is the best in Texas. And by Jack in the Box. Go big with Jack's really big chicken combo. Now the City of Fountains carried over here to Kauffman Stadium. Rangers have taken a 3-0 lead behind Matt Garza as Garza gets ready to go to work here in the bottom of the third inning. Gerard Dyson, Alcides Escobar, and Alex Gordon, the first three Royals to face Garza. Matt has allowed just one hit. He has not walked a hitter, and he has not struck one out. Dyson, the left-handed hitter, batting .265. A couple of home runs, 17 driven in. And he takes strike one at the knees. Dyson very, very fleet of foot. He is second in bunt singles with 10. Trails Leonis Martin in that category. 0-1 pitch to him. This is as well as we've seen Matt Garza throw the ball for about 3 or 4 outings now.
Yeah, the big thing, Buzz, is he seems to be spotting his fastball in this particular at bat on both sides of the plate. When he's been in trouble, a lot of times the fastball's been up and right near the middle of the plate. So far, so good with his command, and that really, obviously, name of the game for a pitcher.
He popped that one up there at 96 miles an hour, so he's got a little extra pop on it also.
And we talked about this before the game started, that one of the things Mike Maddox and Matt worked on between starts is just letting his natural ability shine through. Don't overthink it. Just go out there and let it go. Be yourself.
You know, Mike Maddox very, very good at getting back to the basics, no matter who he's dealing with. And you know, sometimes even with veteran pitchers like Matt Garza, you have to do that. You have to remind him of that. The 2-2 pitch to Dyson. That's out of play to the left. We'll try it again. And if you were with us during the open, you remember the quote. Just remember that the genius on the mound is a simple mind. Clear the head and let your ability shine through. Got him swinging.
I won't tell you the comment I just heard from the truck, Buzz.
No, go ahead. That's all right. We're all
as soon as you got done reading that, I won't even say who said it, but his nickname is the Veteran.
Yeah.
Now we know why Buzz was so good. You didn't have anything cluttering up your mind.
No, very simple mind. It's all right. Simple is a lot better most of the time.
Hey, regardless of what's between your ears, and you got a lot between your ears, Buzz. I'm not making fun of that.
Saying I got a big head?
You got pretty big. No, you got a lot of brains, but you do have a pretty big head. But you got two no hitters on the side of your ledger, so the rest of us aren't saying anything.
That's okay. I know it's all in fun. And
yep, they love you.
In jest, I think. Alcides Escobar up there. And
it's not like you never give them any of that.
I don't.
You know,
always nice. And
I'm kind of a neutral observer, but I gotta say you got a little bit of it coming your way.
Yeah, the neutral observer that stands over in the corner and sticks needles out there at people. Yet you incite things.
I just like to tell the other person what the other one said. I guess I don't know if that's neutral or not.
Beltre across the diamond, and Escobar is gone. There are 2 away, and very quickly now 7 in a row retired by Matt Garza. Hey, you're the guy that stands over in the corner, throws out a barb, and then watches the fight take place. And
just see what happens.
Get your hands out of it. That's good, though. Back to the top of the order now for Alex Gordon, who began things by flying out to relatively deep center field. Garza to the line, and the pitch to Gordon is right down through there for strike one. Alex Gordon 0 for 5 last night, so the Rangers have handled Alex Gordon, who is swinging the bat at a pretty good clip when they came into town. They've handled him pretty well. And Gordon, a big key to this Royals offense. You get him on, and all of a sudden you got speed behind him. with Bonifacio, and then the big guys, Hosmer, Butler, and Perez. It's kind of like the Rangers getting with Ian Kinsler on. Big slow curve, and that drops in. It is a ball and 2 strikes. As we mentioned last night, Gordon had been hitting down 3rd in the order until just recently. Ned Yost got him back up to the customary number 1 slot. Gordon still the team leader with 80 RBI. Got him swinging. Good sharp breaking ball, and Garza gets his first 2 strikeouts of the game here in the 3rd, a 1-2-3 inning. After 3 complete, the Rangers 3, the Royals nothing. For the Rangers and finish up tomorrow here with Kansas City, and then back home for the final 7 games of the year. The Astros for 3 and the Angels for 4. Craig Gentry leading off against Jeremy Guthrie, bottom 3rd of the Ranger order, to face Guthrie, who's allowed 3 runs on 4 hits and a couple of walks tonight. Gentry takes low. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. Craig, an infield single, his first time up. So that batting average continuing to climb for the fleet-footed Ranger outfielder, up to 263. 2-1. Gentry now 5 out of 7 on this trip. Guthrie back to him. And misses low and outside. Now, Guthrie here ran into a spell where he threw 9 consecutive pitches out of the strike zone last inning. And the 2 walks came back to hurt him as they both scored. In danger of losing Gentry leading off the 4th, who'll be followed by the number 8 hitter, David Murphy.
Well, he's thrown over 50 pitches, more balls than strikes so far.
And Gentry fouls it on a play to the right. The count is now full. Guthrie, the 34-year-old right-hander, goes to work the payoff pitch. Instead, time is called. Gentry taking a little time getting back in the batter's box. He is ready, so's Guthrie. Now the payoff pitch. Out of play to the right, we'll come back and try it again.
You know, one of the things you probably don't say with a Kansas City starter is make him throw a lot of pitches so you can get to the bullpen.
No.
Their bullpen, I don't care who you bring out there, he's tough to face, boy.
Yep. They are the best statistically in the American League, and One of the best in all of baseball. Chopper to third. One big hop into the glove of Moustakas. Quick throw, and he gets Gentry by a couple of steps. Our Coors Light cold hard fact of the evening for you. Ron Washington's club has scored 8 runs or more, the third most in the American League, 28 times, and they've scored 2 or fewer runs 52 times. That's the third most. So, boy, it's either the penthouse or the basement.
Try to figure that one.
I don't know.
They get hot and they stay hot. They get cold and they stay cold.
I guess if you're the opposition, you want to pitch against them when they're going to score 2 runs or less.
Yeah, you just got to be lucky. Pick the right day.
That's right. 2-0 the count to Murph. David, a fly ball to the left. Deep into the left field corner, as a matter of fact. His first time up. 0 for 1. And Guthrie back to him. That ball's hit well to center field. Dyson going back. Still going back. It's over his head. One hop off the wall and over the wall. And David Murphy, a ringing ground rule double to dead center field, and that ball was crushed.
I don't think David can hit a ball any harder than that. You've got Gerard Dyson playing center field, and he can absolutely fly, and that ball went over his head like he was standing still. And all David had to do was just get it up in the air a little bit more, and it would have carried right over the 410 sign. That's how hard he hit this ball. Great swing. In scoring position, the Rangers trying to score again.
Well, the Rangers now with 5 hits, and Leonis Martin, who flied out to center, takes ball 1. You don't see many ground rule doubles to straightaway center field, especially in this ballpark. That one hit the track and just kangarooed on out. Slowly hit the first. It's in foul territory, and Leonis Martin having to go back for some new lumber.
Got a few shout outs. Pauline Polly Murray from Brownfield is 90 years old today. Chad, Tricia, and Travis Skipworth from Denison are at the ballpark tonight. Seen a lot of Ranger gear in the stands tonight. James and Sarah McMillan from Abilene, Shelley McMillan from Arlington, and Allison McMillan from Dallas. Family Affair are all here tonight. A little work going on in the bullpen out there. Kelvin Herrera, number 40.
Rip and a miss by Martin. It's 1-2.
John Val and Josiah Meeks from Denison are here, along with Amy Grant and Zach Jordan and Jackson Bates. Other Ranger fans who are here. Enjoying the game so far.
And at the shoe tops for Leonis, it's 2 balls and 2 strikes.
And lastly, Vernice Nelson from Texarkana is 95 years old today. Happy birthday, Vernice. And happy birthday to Polly Murray from Brownfield.
2-2. Guthrie back to the plate and misses inside. Tried to get that comeback fastball, and it didn't come back quite far enough for him. So it's a full count to Martin. He's hitting with 1 on and 1 out. Ian Kinsler will follow in the order. Murphy, the lead from second. The payoff pitch lined right to the third baseman, Moustakas.
Not much you can do about that. He went with a pitch. He hit it solidly. If it's one way or the other, a little bit higher, it's a double, and he drives in another run.
Well, 2 outs. And that'll take the Rangers back to the top of the order for the 3rd time tonight.
That's a nice swing and a pitch away. Did just what you want to do with it.
Ian Kinsler 1 for 2. Tripled and scored in the first, grounded to third in the 3rd inning. Ian now with a modest 3-game hitting streak going. Takes the breaking ball, 0-1. Ian 4 out of 9 over those 3 games. Runners in scoring position this year. Kinsler 6 for his last 12. This ball hit well to left center field, but way up in the air. Dyson near the warning track, and he hauls it in. That's a big part of the yard out there. Rangers gone in the 4th. They can't do anything with Murphy's double. He's stranded. After 3.5, it's the Rangers 3 and the Royals nothing. tune in each Saturday morning at 10 o'clock right here on Fox Sports Southwest for Chevy Hometown Kids. It's not about the score, it's about the experience. Now, Matt Garza having a great experience tonight along with those kids. I like that you bring your own stuff to the ballpark, play with them whenever you feel like it. Game gets a little bit slow for you, you always got something to fall back on.
Well, especially if you like trains more than baseball.
Yeah.
But everyone else wants to go to the game.
Emilio Bonifacio will start things off for Kansas City. Rangers on top 3-0, and Matt Garza has 36 pitches through the first 3 innings. He's retired 8 straight as Bonifacio takes strike 1. Bonifacio, the only base hit against Garza tonight. He's been the only base runner for the Royals. Garza with the 0-1. 0-2. Now with 2 strikes, Adrian Beltre, the third baseman, will back up behind the bag at third. Outfield in this ballpark playing extremely shallow and around to the left for Bonifacio. The 0-2. Line drive. Up the ladder goes Elvis, and he comes down with it.
Didn't have to jump quite as high as Bonifacio had to jump yesterday to make the nice leaping catch he made. I thought Elvis was a little taller than Bonifacio, too.
Elvis yelling out at Leonis Martin, who was giving him a little bit of grief. Hey, another 4 inches, I would have been off the ground. So 1 out on the line drive. Now Eric Hosmer, who fouled out his first time, and he takes that big slow hook. And Garza's thrown that for a strike almost at will tonight.
He's thrown 38 or 39 pitches, and 26 or 7 of them have been strikes. All his pitches thrown to the spot he wants to throw them so far, too.
That's fouled off to the left, and very quickly, no balls and 2 strikes.
And he's also featuring a fastball that frequently has been 95 or 96 miles an hour. So you get a little more margin for error when you're tuning it up at 95, 96 than you do when it's 91 or 92. Tougher to hit.
Garza, a long look in to A.J. Przinsky. Yeah, he has one he's once, and he's ready to go to work. Now time call. As Hosmer said, that's plenty of time. We don't need to do it right now. Now Garza back to the plate. Well, he jammed him, a little pop-up into center. Going out, Elvis over the shoulder makes the catch. 4 out number 2. Good pitch by Garza.
One of the things, Buzz, we've seen in the last couple of weeks a lot is 0-2 pitches that end up over the middle of the plate that get hit hard. And that's happened to Matt a little bit, but not this time. He tries to get the ball in, and he gets it way in and jams Hosmer, and all the result was is a little blooper to shortstop. So that's just about a perfect 0-2 pitch right there.
That is a quality 0-2 pitch.
Yeah.
Close enough you want to swing at it, but yet it's not anywhere near the middle of the bat.
Right.
No, 2 out, I should say. Nobody on. Billy Butler takes ball 1. Butler lined to right field on a 3-0 pitch back in the first inning. 0 for 1 tonight, hitting .291. Garza winds. The 1-0 pitch is outside. Well, Matt, of the Royals hitters tonight, Garza has shown the least inclination to throw Butler anything close to being a pitch in the middle of the plate. He's had some bad experiences in the past against Butler when he has thrown the ball there. And that pitch a little bit low. It's 3-0 for the second straight time. Butler 8 out of 20 against Garza in the past.
He was swinging 3-0 the last time up and hit a line drive pretty well that Alex Rios ran down going toward the line.
Not swinging 3-0 here, and he takes ball 4. Our first walk of the night, and that breaks a string of 11 straight retired by Garza. 1 on, 2 out. Salvador Perez now will come up.
Well, Perez, in his last at bat, swung wildly an off-speed pitch for strike 1, then barely missed a home run down the left field line and made an out on a pitch away that he hit very sharply right to first base. And he's a tough guy to pitch to because he makes contact and he uses the whole field.
And he uses it with the power too.
He's got
strong
power.
guy. Takes that breaking ball for strike 1. Garza coming off the mound, do a little groundskeeping work. He's back up on top now. Perez, that 7-game hitting streak we told you about, 1 for 4 in last night's ball game with a run scored. Garza, a belt high set, and the pitch in the dirt. Perzinski, a good job of blocking that. Well, that thing bounced way out in front of home plate. Again, that for a catcher is really tough to gauge where it's going to go. AJ getting that right arm in the way of it. No, 1-1 the count to Perez. Go back just about a month to August 23rd. Perez has hit 386, 373 in the month of September, as that graphic told you. Next pitch fouled off, and now Garza with the 1-2 advantage in the count. Butler at first after the 2-out walk. Moreland holding him close. Rusty Kuntz, the first base coach, at the bottom of your screen. Got him swinging. Big breaking ball. He took something off it, and Garza gets his 3rd strikeout. Royals gone despite the 2-out walk. 1 left. We're going to the 5th. Rangers 3, Royals nothing. Texas Rangers baseball on Fox Sports Southwest is brought to you by the all-new Mazda 6. When you change everything, you change everything. A beautiful sunset up here in Kansas City tonight. Gorgeous clear skies overhead, and the score is pretty good looking too. 3-0 Rangers as they come to bat here in the top of the 5th inning. Elvis Andrus, Alex Rios, and Adrian Beltre, the numbers 2, 3, and 4 in the Ranger order of things here tonight to face Jeremy Guthrie. 3 runs on 5 hits for the Rangers, no runs on 1 hit for the Royals. And the slider is on the outside corner. Elvis takes it for strike 1. Elvis, an RBI ground out in the 1st. He walked and scored in the 3rd inning. 1-1. Elvis batting at .269 as he faces Guthrie. At the shortstop. And Elvis's counterpart, Alcides Escobar, throws him out. One gone. Now that'll bring up Alex Rios. Rios, like Andrews, walked and scored in the third inning. Only 2 walks that Guthrie has allowed tonight were back-to-back with 1 out in the third to Andrews and Rios. And they both came in to score in that frame. That's been the difference in this ball game as the Rangers lead it 3-0.
It's funny how a pitcher who has pretty good control will just run into a stretch like that where he just couldn't throw a strike for a while.
Chopper foul. It's no balls and 2 strikes now. Guthrie coming into this frame, 68 pitches and 35 strikes. Not exactly the ball strike ratio he'd like to have. There's a line drive to right off the bat of Rios. That'll settle in for a base hit. And it gets by Kane, so Rios keeps on going. Lorenzo Kane kind of nonchalantly going over there to play that one-hop line shot to him, and it came up, glanced off of his either glove or forearm, and got by far enough that Rios able to get another 90 feet.
The last inning, they got an extra base on a throw from the outfield. Adrian took second. Couldn't capitalize on the extra run. See if they can capitalize on this.
A strike to Beltre. A single and an error. First error of the night by either ball club. Beltre 2 for 2 with a pair of singles tonight and an RBI. 88 runs driven in this year for the Ranger third baseman. Chopper foul. Adrian down in the count now, 0-2. In case you'd missed it earlier, Tampa Bay defeated Baltimore this afternoon 5-1. That after a victory last night in 18 innings down in Tampa. High and tight, a ball and 2 strikes. They had a short turnaround too, that 18-inning game, and then the afternoon game at the Trop. Tampa Bay winning both of those. So
they play the Orioles 2 more times, and hopefully the Orioles will be able to come back and win a game or 2.
Little looper on one hop after the second baseman Bonifacio. He'll throw on to first. Beltre out. Rios advances to third. He's there with 2 away for A.J. Pierzynski. Guthrie able to jam Beltre. It's the ground out. Now A.J. sacrifice fly to left his last time up. Pierzynski now 66 RBI. And he's got Alex Rios down at third. It's going to take a base hit or something of that nature. But the Rangers are to score here. That's slicing toward the line, but on the run, Alex Gordon catches it, and that'll do it. No runs, a hit, an error, and 1 left. We're halfway through the ball game. Rangers 3, Royals nothing. Fox Sports Southwest. Hey fans, you can catch all the action for the 2013 Major League Baseball postseason on Fox, TBS, and MLB Network. It all starts on October the 1st. Plus, you can keep up with all the postseason scheduling information at TexasRangers.com/postseason. A lot of Ranger red in the crowd here in this sea of blue. Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City, and a sellout crowd on hand on Fan Appreciation Night. They have seen the Rangers take a 3-0 lead here into the bottom of the 5th inning. Mike Moustakas will lead things off for the Royals. Lorenzo Cain, Gerard Dyson to follow. Matt Garza, who has allowed just one base hit, goes to work, and he gets a jam shot off the bat of Moustakas out to Elvis Andrus. One pitch, one busted bat, and one out.
Boy, he's doing a great job of locating his fastball. Did the same thing to Hosmer. Really getting the ball in on the left-hand hitter. So commanding the fastball, at least through 4 1/3, has been a significant difference between this start and his last couple of starts.
So Garza just 51 pitches to get the first 13 outs. Lorenzo Cain, a fly ball to right his first time. 1 ball, no strikes. Cain, a .253 hitter. Garza back to him. And there is a strike at the knees. Cain, a couple of hits and a run scored in last night's ball game. Hits this one well to center field. Leonis Martin going back. Now he stops, turns, and makes the catch for the out. Boy, that tells you how big this ballpark is in center, because Cain hit that ball pretty well.
Yep. Rangers have hit some balls well tonight and last night. No one's hit one well enough to get it out there. There's one that might have come back for the middle of the plate, but he hit it to the right part of the field if you're a Ranger fan. Right to the warning track out there. 2 up, 2 down. Just a long out for Matt.
Now here's Gerard Dyson, who struck out, and he tries to bunt his way aboard and fouls it off. That bunt attempt had Adrian Beltre flying down the line at third. Adrian starts right on the cut of the grass and kind of creeps in against Dyson. The 0-1. That's out of play. Dyson trying to slap one by Beltre when he got him pulled in and couldn't do it. 0-2 the count. Garza has struck out 3, the only walk to Billy Butler in the 4th inning. Tried that breaking ball, but it slipped out of his hand and stayed a little bit high. It's 1 ball and 2 strikes. Garza's 1-2 pitch. We'll have to try it again. Garza making his 12th start in a Ranger uniform. It's his 23rd start overall. Came over from the Cubs on the 22nd of July. 1-2. That evens the count. Garza has never had much success against Kansas City. He's just 1-5 in his career in 8 starts, but he had not faced Kansas City since he was with the Tampa Bay Rays back in 2010. Chance here tonight, and he's making the most of it. 2-2 pitch. Pulled sharply off of Moreland and down the right field line. Dyson with great speed. He's not stopping at second. On his way to third, and he'll be in standing. That ball came up on Mitch Moreland. It's going to be a triple for Dyson.
Well, that was a hard hit ball. going to be a nice play if Mitch is able to knock it down or catch it. And just shot, took a hop and went right by him. Very hard hit ball by Dyson. Once that ball went by Mitch, the only question was hopefully get it back in before he goes all the way around the bases.
So Dyson at third now, 2 outs. Alcides Escobar, the number 9 hitter, is at the plate. Garza will continue to work from the stretch. And Escobar trying to butt his way aboard and get Dyson home, fouls it off.
Yeah, it's a good idea. You can get the bunt down.
0-1 now, the count to Escobar. Man, he had Beltre back deep enough to where if he'd gotten that down, he probably could have gotten the base hit on it.
Yep.
Garza okays the sign, a check of third. And he fires a knee-high strike. It is 0-2.
Another very well located fastball at 94 miles an hour, right on the outside corner. Trying to put him away with a man on third. Keep it a 3-0 ball game.
Call strike 3.
There he goes, threw that thing right by him.
Got that fastball right on the inside corner. A 3-pitch punch out, and the Royals are gone to the 5th. No runs a hit. They leave a runner stranded at third. We have finished 5. Rangers 3, Royals 0. It is time now for the Sonic Slam Inning, brought to you by Sonic. Tonight's jackpot is worth $2,400 and dinner for 2 at Sonic Drive-In. Tonight the Rangers are hitting for Paul Beth Jr. of North Richland Hills. And if a Ranger hits a grand slam during the inning, Paul Beth Jr. of North Richland Hills will win $25,000. You can register at any participating Sonic restaurant. Now, Moreland, Gentry, and Murphy, the first 3 to take a shot here in the Sonic Slam Inning. Mitch 0 for 2. He's popped out and grounded out. He takes the slow breaking ball that hangs outside from Guthrie. 1 ball and no strikes. Mitch 0 for 4 in last night's ball game, so 0 for 6 here in the first couple of games in Kansas City. Rip and a miss as Guthrie pulled the string. It's 1-1.
Oh, real good changeup. Same movement that you would see on his sinker.
Remember, Moreland on Thursday night in Tampa Bay had a 3-hit night. Got a home run in that ball game and really was swinging the bat well. He's gone back cold and against the Royals here. 1-2 the count. numbers for Mitch on this road trip. 6 for 19. Home run and an RBI. Fouled back. That got him on the fist. And it remains a ball and 2 strikes. Moreland back in. Guthrie reading the signs. Now the right-hander. Trying to get inside again on Moreland, and Mitch fouled it back. Guthrie up over the 80 pitch mark now. About ready to go to 85 tonight. Another 1-2 pitch. And it's popped up. Foul territory down the third baseline. Gordon, about 5 feet into foul territory, puts it away. That is Moustakas, the third baseman. Gordon right behind him. That is out number 1. Well, it's time now for a Mazda game break. Here is Rick Renner. Rick. All right, Rick, thank you. Greg Gentry takes strike 1. Gentry 1 for 2. Had that infield single in the second. Last time up, grounded to third. There's a base hit to left field. Gentry picking on a high off-speed pitch, able to bang that to left, and he has his second hit of the night.
Yep. Had the 4 hits in Tampa. Didn't play yesterday. 2 hits today. I'm betting he's playing tomorrow.
Off tomorrow and back.
I bet he was going to play. I bet that he was going to play last night too, and was wrong. So you never know. But he's swinging a hot bat anyway. If
yes,
if he does play, he'd probably take advantage of it.
Yeah, Gentry having to scramble back on that quick throw from Guthrie. David Murphy. Well, he clanked a double right over the head of Gerard Dyson in center field his last time up. Hit a one hopping right on out of the ballpark. Ground rule double. And well, Murph up there trying to get Gentry going. He is at first base with 1 out. Rangers now 7 hits tonight. As Murphy takes a knee-high strike, it is 1-1. Murphy now 3 for 5 in limited playing time on this trip. And another throw to first drives Gentry back. Guthrie, a belt high set. Again, the let-up pitch is outside, and it's 2 balls and a strike. For David Murphy, this is just his 3rd start of the year as the DH. And he's trying to make the most of it. 1 for 2 and a chance to do some more damage. This one's popped up, however. Mike Moustakas, the third baseman, waiting for it to come down, puts it away, and that is out number 2.
Yeah, that's about as much emotion as you'll see from David after making it out. He was a little frustrated. He had a pretty good pitch to hit. It was right on it. Had a great swing. He just gets underneath it a little bit, and this is about as close as he'll come to throwing a bat right there. That's about as mad as you'll see him outwardly. Now, inwardly, he feels the same way everybody else does, but outwardly, he maintains his composure like most of us can.
Yeah. No, 2 away. And Gentry maybe an opportunity to try and steal second. Leonos Martin up there. And Martin takes a strike with a sinker. Leonos, a fly ball to center, a line drive to third. 0 for 2 tonight. And that batting average currently at .261. Guthrie set. There goes Gentry, and he's got second base stolen.
Even the fans saw that.
Now that is a good jump.
Well, Guthrie's been pretty tough for Craig to get a jump on, so he just took it into his own hands then. He just started early.
Yeah, he was not going to get thrown out on that.
Not by the catcher anyway.
No. 18th stolen base of the year for Gentry. So he's in scoring position, and the 0-2 pitch moves Martin back off the plate. It's 1-2. You know, we've seen that happen more often this year than I can ever remember it. I mean, every once in a while you used to see it, but man, we've seen that probably half a dozen times.
Giovanni Soto do it.
Yeah. Breaking ball down at the shoe tops, and that evens the count at 2-2. So Craig able to get into scoring position. Leona's trying to pick him up. Rangers tonight 1 for 7 with runners in scoring position. Guthrie's 2-2. It's fought off by Leonis. It's out of play to the left. We will try it again. Martin 1 for 3 with an infield single last night and a stolen base. Gentry establishing his lead at second base, and Gentry checks it. And another fastball inside that is shot foul to the left. Lewis Coleman, hard throwing right-hander down there now instead of Herrera. Again, Guthrie is set. Down the right field line, and that's fair. That is trouble. It is foul. Couple of feet in a foul territory. And Leonis Martin's bid for extra bases, just that much foul. No, Gentry back to second, Martin back to home plate, and Guthrie back to the mound. Guthrie really making an attempt to stay inside on Leonis Martin. About ready to throw the 8th pitch of this at bat to him. And that's fouled back to the left. Tom, you always talk about you have a long at bat like this and keep fouling them off. Eventually, one's going to get in the hitting area where you can handle it.
Yeah, most of these have been inside, and he's been jammed, but maybe get one out over the plate a little bit.
That one up there and couldn't handle it. Side retired, no runs, a hit, a stolen base, and Gentry left stranded. After 5.5, it's the Rangers 3, the Royals nothing on Fox Sports Southwest. As we go to the bottom of the 6th inning, time for the 4-game summary. Rangers putting 1 on the board in the 1st and 2 in the 3rd. Matt Garza has made that stand up. Adrian Beltre 2 for 3 with an RBI tonight. Garza, meanwhile, 4 strikeouts, just 1 walk, 63 pitches. It's all have taken the Ranger right-hander to work his way through 5. 45 pitches, 4 strikes for Garza. So far and away the best outing that Matt Garza has had in a while for the Rangers.
Yeah, it's a perfect night to pitch. Not much breeze. It's cool. He's got to be feeling great. He had a good side session. And he's been throwing his fastball on both sides of the plate, and very seldom has it come back over the middle of the plate so far today.
This is an important inning for him. The 6th inning, he's facing the top of the Kansas City order for the 3rd time. And Alex Gordon takes a big breaking ball that's in for strike 1. And again, Garza's had the ability to drop that curveball in there, especially early in the count. It's been very effective for him. Gordon has struck out and fly to center field. 1 ball and 1 strike. Garza peering in now for the sign, the right-hander. To the wind, the 1-1. A little extra pop on that fastball up about letter high, and Gordon not able to catch up with it.
Well, Matt's had good velocity today, too. Frequently 94 to 96. Gotten ahead of the hitters pretty well. 13 out of 19 first pitch strikes. And ahead in the count right here. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Struck out Gordon his last time up.
The 1-2. Tried that fastball away and just missed the outer edge. 2-2 now. Garza's next pitch. Skied to center field. That'll send Leonis Martin back into his left, but plenty of room out there. And Leonis puts it away, and Gordon is now 0 for 8 in the first 2 games of this series.
Good assortment of pitches right there for Matt. He started him off with a breaking ball for a strike, threw him a several mid-90s fastballs, and then took a little off. Threw him a slider, got him to pop it up out in front of it. Good start to the 6th inning. Took that leadoff hitter.
Emilio Bonifacio, who had a base hit in the 1st inning, last time up, lined out to shortstop. 1 for 2 tonight. And Garza pumping in strike 1 as Bonifacio showing bunt. Adrian Beltre charging down the line from 3rd.
The Royals have had 2 hits and a walk, have not had a leadoff man get on base today.
The 0-1. Backdoor curveball. The latch was on the door. A ball and a strike. Bonifacio, the switch hitter, waiting for the 1-1. That's out of play to the left. Oh, Bonifacio really a slashing kind of hitter.
He is.
Takes one of those guys that takes some swings. You say, what in the world is he doing? And then he'll take a great swing on the next pitch. Got to be very much a feel hitter. He's a very, very natural type hitter. Ready for the 1-2. Garza to the plate. Got him on the fist with a breaking ball. Moreland will take it to the bag. He wins the race. Bonifacio's retired, and very quickly 2 outs here in the 6th. Something Mitch has done very well the last couple of months. And he used to throw almost every ball that was hit to him to the pitcher covering. And I think they talked to him about any ball that he feels he can take to the bag himself. They encourage Mitch to do that. And we've seen Mitch Moreland take many more balls for an unassisted play rather than risking a throw to the pitcher, even though it's an easy play. 2 outs now. Eric Hosmer, the first baseman, comes up. 0 for 2. A pop out to Pierzynski, a pop out to short. And It is strike one. Osborne came into the game hitting .304. He's now down a point to .303. Outfield plays him pretty deep and around a couple of steps to the left. Off speed, and that is a bit low. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. You can look at the Ranger infield shading to the right. Outfield shading just the opposite way. Garza back to him. Hard hit, right at Ian Kinsler, down on a knee. Up with it, on to first. Boy, Matt Garza really sailing through 6. 3 up, 3 down here. We're going to the 7th. Rangers 3, Royals nothing. Fox Sports Southwest. Sunday, September 29th is Fan Appreciation Day. It's the final regular season game of the 2013 season, and tickets are going fast, so get yours at TexasRangers.com. And let the Rangers thank you for your support. Now as we go to the 7th inning, new pitcher on the hill for the Kansas City Royals. It'll be the 27-year-old right-hander Lewis Coleman.
Lewis Coleman, in the innings he's been out there, has been very difficult to score on. He's pitched 27 innings, given up 1 run. It came on a home run. The only run he's given up, an 0.33 earned run average. 29 strikeouts and only 4 walks.
Now Coleman will face the top of the order, Ian Kinsler. 1 for 3 tonight, steps in. Coleman side-arming and a fly ball off the bat of Kinsler to left center. Alex Gordon over there to make the grab, and Kinsler on 1 pitch is retired. 1 away for Elvis Andrus. Now Coleman takes over for Jeremy Guthrie. Guthrie worked 6 innings, 7 hits, 3 runs. They were all earned, 2 walks and 1 strikeout. And both walks were cashed in by the Rangers tonight. Here's Elvis, who is 0 for 2, but he garnered 1 of those walks and takes a strike. Coleman out of LSU and his college ball, taken down to the Bayou State. That pitch is low. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. 5th round selection back in 2009 by the Royals. First team All-American for the LSU Tigers. 1-2 to Elvis. Rangers 3 runs on 7 hits tonight. Royals no runs on just 2 hits against Garza. Only error of the game committed by Kansas City. And that pitch all the way to the backstop. 2-2 now. Coleman originally came up with the Royals in 2011, appeared in 48 games. Last year had 42 games. All of them have been in relief. And Elvis pops it up. Right side of the infield, Bonifacio. 2 gone. Now let's take a look at the DirecTV American League wild card standings. And they are pretty tense going down to the last week of play in the American League. Tampa Bay winners today. They have a half-game lead over Cleveland. Cleveland a half-game lead, or make that a one-game lead over the Rangers, as that has been updated with the Cleveland win.
The Rangers and Cleveland are tied in the loss column. Cleveland's played one more game than the Rangers.
Rios singled and walked. 1 for 2 officially. Chops that one foul past the far into the Ranger dugout. And the count is 0-2. Gary Pettis looking around, saying, where did that ball come from? Where'd it go? Coleman back to the plate, the 0-2. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Rios. Now it's a 277 now as he faces Coleman. In the dirt, the count evens. Again, Coleman ready. And the breaking ball just stays inside. Rios has worked the count full. Alex trying to get aboard to extend this 7th inning. Adrian Beltre waits to be next. Perez with the signs. Coleman agrees to one. The payoff pitch on the way. Well, excuse me, swing didn't mean to. And Hosmer will take it on to first himself. And Rios retired. The Rangers go down in order at the hands of Lewis Coleman. Stretch time in Kansas City. It's the Rangers 3 and the Royals 0. Well, the results are in. The AT&T Twitter poll, you remember we asked you which of these teams is most surprising this season. 53% of you said these Kansas City Royals. They're 2.5 games out of the wild card. Their first winning season in the offense since 2003. Second, the Pittsburgh Pirates. First winning season since 1992. A lot of Royals fans on hand here tonight as Fan Appreciation Night. The next to the last home game of the year for the Royals here tonight. Billy Butler will start things off. Matt Garza set to go to work in the 7th inning, leading 3-0. And Butler hits one well to right field, but positioned pretty well himself as Alex Rios. One pitch and one away.
And you love to get those leadoff hitters, and Matt's gotten all 7 of them that he's faced today. Billy Butler, one of the more dangerous hitters in the American League. Get him on one pitch.
19 outs now and 76 pitches is all it's taken for Matt Garza to get those 19 outs.
16 out of 22 first pitch strikes. A lot of quality strikes. One thing to throw strikes, but he's throwing quality strikes.
Salvador Perez takes just off the outer edge. It's 1 ball, no strikes. Perez, ground ball to the first baseman, Mitch Moreland. He's also struck out. There's the inning by inning breakdown for you.
Hasn't had a long inning yet.
15 in the first.
Yeah, anything remotely long.
Chopper foul. Well, you throw a lot of strikes early in the count, and you get a team like Kansas City that's pretty aggressive anyway, and you're going to have some short counts because they're going to go after you. When you're throwing good strikes, you're going to get a lot of early outs in the count.
Yep.
1-1 the count to Perez. Off the end of the bat, out to Ian Kinsler. Sidearm flip on to first, 2 down. And that is 6 straight now, retired since the triple in the 5th inning by Gerard Dyson. And Mike Moustakas now will face Matt Garza. Moustakas has popped out twice, once to third, once to short. Royals with just the 2 hits, the triple we mentioned in the 5th by Dyson. First inning single by Bonifacio. That's been it. Check swing. That's one way to get ahead of the count. Get that up and in fastball, and Moustakas not able to get the bat back out of the way on the check swing. Nothing in 1 the count. Breaking ball, that's pulled foul by Rusty Kuntz, the Royals first base coach. You know, like almost every hitter, it seems like Garza out in front of the count, no balls and 2 strikes. The only guy that Garza's had anything remotely near a difficult time with tonight has been Billy Butler, and you got Butler to start this inning off by flying out on the first pitch. There's a base hit to right field. Moustakas got an 0-2 that stayed out over the plate a little bit.
He didn't quite get it in there. He got it in a little bit. He jammed him, but didn't quite get it in like he's done to guys like Hosmer. When he's got it in so far, he probably broke their bats. Back just a little bit, caught some strike.
Yeah. Lorenzo Cain, the scheduled hitter, is being pulled back to the dugout. It'll be David Lowe, who pinch hit in last night's game. Left-handed hitting outfielder to come up for the at-bat here against Matt Garza. Lowe came on last night and walked in that fateful 8th inning. 2-out walk, that loaded the bases and set the stage for Alcida's game-winning bases-loaded walk. Now David Lowe pinch hitting with 1 on and 2 outs here in the 7th inning. And ball 1 is low and inside. Lowe 2 for his last 3 times to the plate. He pinch hitting. Last night his second walk as a pinch hitter, but just 1 for 7 when he's been made to swing the bat.
Lowe has been up 304 times. He only walked 10 times. So that was a huge walk for him in the game last night. And he battled and earned that walk too. Fouled off some tough off-speed pitches to stay alive.
Lowe overall a .283 hitter with 4 home runs, 31 RBI. Ground ball. Kinsler has it. He will throw to Garza, covering for the out. Nice play by Garza and Kinsler. So that'll do it. It goes 4-1 on the putout. And the side is retired. Lowe and the Royals are gone. We're going to the 8th. 3-0 Rangers. And time now for our Coors Light freeze can. Adrian Beltre, a critical shot in that 3rd inning, up the middle. It hits the base and stays down, so that Bonifacio, who was right behind the bag, can't handle it. Turned out to be an RBI single and a big play in this ballgame. As they got the Rangers ahead 2-0 at that time, and eventually they would take a 3-0 lead on Pierzynski's sac fly. So the base hit by Adrian Beltre, our Coors Light freeze can. And Adrian Beltre will start things off. His 4th at bat of the night. He is 2 for 3. Going to be Beltre, Pierzynski, and Moreland to face Lewis Coleman. Coleman had a very quick 1-2-3, top of the 7th, and Beltre fouls off the first pitch. It is 0-1. David Lowe remains in the ballgame in right field. Coleman set back to the plate. Oh, and 2 to Beltre. Adrian at .318 with the average as he faces Coleman. 1-2 now. Beltre 0 for 4 against Coleman in his previous at-bats. Also has mixed in a walk. He has struck out a couple of times. Coleman the advantage here. The ball and 2 strikes. And Beltre drives one to right center field. Lowe, a long run back in the alley, but he has time to get there. And he makes the grab out number 1, and he'll bring up A.J. Pierzynski, and we won't face Lewis Coleman as Ned Yost on his way out to the mound. He wants the left-hander to come in to face Pierzynski. So Coleman gets 4 outs, and that's all he was asked to do. It'll be Francisli Moino when we come back. We'll take a timeout with a pitching change. Rangers leading 3-0. Back after this on Fox Sports Southwest. Rangers leading 3-0. Francisco Bueno, the 32-year-old veteran left-hander, has come on to the ball game, and there are the numbers for Bueno.
Yeah, he hasn't been here very long, but the numbers that he has are very good. Hasn't walked anybody. Hasn't given up a run.
Bueno, who was with Kansas City last year for 18 ball games, ended up 1-1 with a 156, and back this year. He will face A.J. Pierzynski with the bases empty and one away here in the 8th inning. Bueno, born in Havana, Cuba, excuse me. Part of the 2004 national team for Cuba. 1 ball and no strikes to A.J. Pierzynski has flied out 3 times to left field. One of them resulting in a sacrifice fly. So 0 for 2. Batting at .277. And Pierzynski loops one into center field. Going out is Bonifacio, and he makes a nice running catch. A.J. almost had a little duck fall in there.
Tried to. Didn't muscle it quite far enough, though. Bonifacio gets genuine satisfaction out of making plays.
Yep.
He's got a smile on his face after every one.
Yeah, their middle infielders have quite a bit of range between the two of them.
Yeah, they do.
Bonifacio and Escobar. They cover some ground out there.
By the looks of it, Bonifacio is very happy to be traded over here to Kansas City. Playing a lot better for Kansas City than he was for Toronto.
Mitch Moreland takes the big breaking ball that drops over the outside corner for strike 1. Mitch tonight 0 for 3. He has popped up a couple of times and grounded out. Moreland 1 for 1 in the brief encounter that he had with Bueno, and he swings through a pitch there. 0-2 the count. Mitch, as you can see, a .235 hitter. Rangers leading here in the top of the 8th inning, 3-0. And Moreland gone on strike, so Bueno comes in to get 2 quick outs. Rangers gone in order. We have played 7.5 in Kansas City. It's the Rangers 3 and the Royals 0 on Fox Sports Southwest.
Rangers cling to that 3-0 lead here in Kansas City. Matt Garza out on the mound for the 8th inning, and I'm John Radigan. We'll have Rangers Live presented by Esurance coming up immediately following the game at Eliminate All live from here in Kansas City. That means we won't have the joy of Dana and Mac, but we will have me. Buzz will join me. So will Tom. And I bet you Ron Washington and Matt Garza will stop by too. It should be a fun and exciting show after what we hope will be a big win by the Rangers. Guys, it's Rangers Live presented by Esurance right after the game.
All right, John. Rangers need to do some work here in the last couple of innings. Wrap up this victory, even up the series, and stay within shouting distance of both Cleveland and Tampa Bay in that wild card race. Garza to work to Gerard Dyson to start things off. Dyson tripled to right field his last time up. That was a 2-out 3-bagger in the 5th inning. Shows bunt, takes strike 1, and Garza again in front of the count as Adrian Beltre coming down the line from 3rd.
He's thrown 86 pitches, 62 strikes, and 24 balls.
Dyson to left field. Gentry going back, still going back, turned the wrong way initially, and now able to catch up with that. Boy, Dyson driving that ball quite a distance to left field, the opposite field.
He surprised Craig a little bit. And the leadoff hitter is out again. 8 straight times that Matt has retired the leadoff hitter.
The 1 away. Now Alcides Escobar will come up for his 3rd at bat. Escobar is grounded out and struck out against Garza. Escobar, a .238 hitter. He has been a pretty good force, though, at the bottom of this Kansas City lineup. Takes a breaking ball that's just a bit low for ball 1. Escobar has hit .302 when he has batted 9th in the Royals order. Line drive, fair down the right side. Over to play the Karam Rios, going into second base. Escobar ahead of the throw.
Yeah, that was pretty close.
And Escobar, an opposite field double, is in scoring position with 1 out. #20th double of the year for Alcides Escobar.
Escobar's only hitting .238, but in the last couple of weeks he's been hitting much better than that. So you can't really go by what his batting average is. You have to go based on how he's playing right now, and playing pretty well. He just barely got into second base too. He had no idea that throw was coming in.
A 1 out now, back to the top of the order, Alex Gordon. The top RBI man on the Kansas City club is up there. Hot shot, Moreland has it, and the throw to second. Fortunately, Escobar got down a little bit, and Elvis able to see the throw the entire way to make the grab, but Gordon, a very hard out number 2.
The Rangers have hit some balls hard that have been caught today, and there's one for Kansas City right there. Fortunately, Mitch was right there to catch it. Fortunately, Elvis was right there to catch that throw to second base. Didn't hit anybody. So 2 outs, man, in scoring position, and get Bonifacio and take a 3-0 game into the 9th.
Bonifacio, one of the 3 Kansas City hits tonight, or 4 Kansas City hits, I should say, off of Matt Garza. Had a first inning single. Garza about ready to throw his 91st pitch of the night. Got Escobar at second, 2 outs here in the 8th inning. Out of play to the left. Bonifacio, we mentioned hitting .313 in the second place of the Royals batting order. He's got Escobar out there at second. Bonifacio with 27 RBI this year. Down the left field line, Gentry toward the wall over there, and he runs out of room. Craig. Fortunately, that's padded down there now. Didn't used to be.
Craig tends to run hard into walls. Hasn't done it lately, but That had some bad potential right there.
Tanner Shepers and Neil Cox, the setup men we talked about before the ball game for the Rangers, getting loose in that right field bullpen. But Garza with an 0-2 count on Bonifacio, trying to keep the shutout intact here in the 8th inning. Call strike 3. Oh, he just painted the outside corner. That is a Rembrandt of painting out there. Garza with the strikeout. A runner stranded at second. We're going to the ninth. 3-0 Rangers. Out innings, and the AT&T U-verse rewind goes back to the first hitter of the game, and Ian Kinsler plugged that right center field gap all the way to third with Kinsler, and boy, that started things off on the right foot for the Rangers tonight. Kinsler would score on a ground out by Elvis Andrus, and Rangers have not looked back since then. They are leading 3-0. Bottom third of the Texas order to face Francisco Bueno here in the 9th inning. Craig Gentry, 1 or 2 for 3. Fouls the first pitch out of play to the right. It is 0-1. Gentry singles in both the 2nd and the 6th inning. Had a stolen base in the 6th, but the Rangers could not bring him around. So Craig hitting at .265 as Bueno comes back to the plate. Now 0-2. Bueno, the third pitcher used by Ned Yost tonight. Jeremy Guthrie started with the first 6 innings. Lewis Coleman went an inning and a third, and now Bueno. A ball and 2 strikes to Gentry. As we mentioned, the Rangers trying to at least get a split of the first 2 games here in this second game tonight. Tomorrow afternoon, Alexi Ogando and James Shields will match it up with Ron Washington's club and Ned Yost Royals going at it for the final time in 2013. And the Rangers come back home to finish the regular season. 3 with Houston and 4 with the Angels. Bueno to the wind. The 1-2 pitch. Line drive. Up the ladder goes Bonifacio, and he can't come down with it. And Gentry with his 3rd hit of the night. So a 4-hit game in Tampa, a 3-hit game here tonight. Gentry aboard to start the 9th inning, and AT&T U-verse take you back to the starters for tomorrow. Alexi Ogando at 7, coming out off a very good 5-inning outing in Tampa Bay. James Shields, 12-9 for Kansas City. Over 213 innings of work this year for the right-hander. So Ned Yost headed out to the mound. You've got Murphy and Martine, or Jeff Baker, I should say, is going to pinch hit for Murphy as Ron Washington wanted to go to the right-hander, so that brought Ned Yost out. To change pitchers, Aaron Crow coming in. Pitching change underway here at Kauffman Stadium. Rangers have one on and nobody out in the ninth inning, leading 3-0. Leaderboard tonight. How about the American League save leaders? And Joe Nathan loosening in the Ranger bullpen, fourth in the American League with 39. Looking for number 40. Johnson of the Orioles with 47. You have Holland and Rivera tied for second with 44. So a bunch of managerial maneuvering here in the ninth inning. Jeff Baker had been called on to pinch hit for David Murphy. That necessitated the move to the bullpen for Aaron Crow, and now Jim Adduci has come out to pinch hit for the pinch hitter. And Adduci fouls off Crow's first pitch. It is 0-1. Adduci at 267. Looking for his first RBI and home run at the major league level. He's got Gentry at first after Craig's third hit of the night. Check swing on a breaking ball from Crow. It's 1-1.
Crow been in 55 games, only thrown 45 innings. Given up 6 home runs in 45 innings, 274 batting average.
Crow facing Jim Adduci, the pinch hitter. Adduci 0 for his last 10. Had a double back on Monday night down in Tampa. That was his last hit. There goes Gentry. The pitch is foul tip at home plate, and Gentry will have to retrace his steps.
It would have been tough to throw out on that one.
Now Adduci, the left-handed hitter, probably couldn't get a real good read on how big a jump Gentry had. So 1-2 now to Adduci. Gentry already with 1 stolen base tonight. His 18th of the year. Crow will drive him back again with a quick toss. Rangers 3 runs on 8 hits tonight. Adduci trying to make the latest hit pay off. Gentry at first and nobody out here in the ninth inning. Eric Hosmer, the big first baseman, playing the inside of the bag with Gentry over there. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Got him swinging. Pitch in the dirt, and Ducey couldn't go down after it. That is out number 1. It'll bring up Leonis Martin.
Overhand curveball goes straight down. A little bit out of the strike zone for Jim.
A 1 on, 1 out. Leonis Martin 0 for 3. He is flied out, lined out, and struck out tonight. Double play ground ball to short, to second, back to first. 6-4-3, and that takes care of the leadoff single by Gentry. Nobody left. We're going to the bottom of the 9th inning. Rangers leading 3-0 in Kansas City. Texas Rangers baseball on Fox Sports Southwest is brought to you by the Built Ford Tough sales event at your Texas Ford dealer. Ford is the best in Texas. By AT&T UVerse TV. Check availability at 1-800-PIC-ATT. Rethink possible. And by Progressive. Visit Progressive.com today. A crowd of 36,575 on hand tonight. They're trying to get their hometown Royals into a fever pitch as Matt Garza is out to the mound to try and finish what he has started. He leads 3-0. Garza has one complete game this year, but that was in a losing effort. Finished the game in Oakland back on the 3rd of August. 8 innings in that ball game and lost 4-2. Tonight, he's leading 3-0. He takes on the Royals here in the 9th. Eric Hosmer to start things off. And Hosmer takes outside for ball 1.
And that's thrown 94 pitches, 68 strikes, 26 balls. Great strike-to-ball ratio. And entering the 9th inning, he's retired the leadoff hitter all 8 times. He has been in control.
Hosmer, a big rip and a foul ball. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. Garza in his career has 8 complete games. He has 3 complete game shutouts. He has not had one since 2010. That was when he was with the Tampa Bay Rays. Ron Washington hoping he can finish it off here tonight, but he's got his bullpen ready just in case. 2 balls and a strike. Hosmer, a couple of pop outs and a ground out tonight against Garza. Joe Nathan, the Ranger closer, down there if needed. To left field, hit pretty well. Going back is Gentry, and that ball is gone. Hosmer the other way, with his 17th home run of the year. It's a 3-1 Ranger lead.
Well, we've seen a lot of players in this series hit balls well and haven't gone out of the ballpark. And then you see Hosmer hit one the other way into the Royals bullpen. And see what kind of power he's got.
And Ron Washington, after that home run, on his way to the mound. So he gave Matt Garza the opportunity to see if he couldn't complete his shutout. And once that shutout is gone, so is Matt Garza. That doesn't take anything away from the.
He's been exceptional tonight. That ball's a little bit up and a little bit closer to the middle of the plate than he has been all night long. And Hosmer's just got excellent power to be able to drive that pitch that far to left field.
Well, that's going to bring in Joe Nathan. He will try and close out the game for his 40th save. We'll tell you all about Joe when we come back. Rangers leading 3-1. Back after this on Fox Sports Southwest. The Rangers leading 3-1. Bases empty in the ninth inning. Joe Nathan, the 38-year-old veteran, on to see if he can close out his 40th save of the year.
39 out of 42. The big one right here for Joe. He's got a 2-run lead, nobody on base.
Well, Nathan, who last had a save back on the 9th of September. That was against the Angels. Trying to get number 40, and he'll face Billy Butler and throws strike one. Butler tonight 0 for 2 with a walk against Matt Garza. Matt Garza with 97 pitches tonight, completing 8 innings, and the shutout gone after Eric Hosmer led off the 9th inning with the home run. Well, Matt Garza in line to get the win if Joe Nathan can close this out. Garza has not had a win since the 19th of August for the Rangers. 0-2 to Butler. Now 1-2. Nathan with 40 career saves against Kansas City. For many, many years with the Twins in the same division. And against Billy Butler, Joe Nathan has not had very much success. Butler is 6 for 12 against the Ranger closer. The 1-2 pitch. Now 2-2. Well, this sellout crowd getting their money's worth here tonight in this 9th inning. Hosmer led off with the opposite field home run that drove Matt Garza from the game. Now Nathan with a 2-ball, 2-strike count to Butler. Got him swinging. Fastball down and away, and Butler strikes out for the first out.
Started him out with a couple of fastballs to get ahead 0-2. Then he tried to tempt him with a couple of slow pitches, and then he throws the fastball outside corner right by him. That's a big out right there.
Now Salvador Perez will step in. Perez 0 for 3 tonight. Nathan misses with a slider. 1-0. Perez has grounded out twice and struck out.
We talk about Escobar only walked 19 times. Perez has only walked 21 times, so he's a free swinger.
Hard hit. Beltre wraps his body around it and fires to first. That is out number 2.
Well, he hit it about as hard as you can hit a ground ball, but he hit it to the wrong guy.
So Nathan has the first 2 outs here in the 9th inning. And now we'll deal with Mike Moustakas with the bases empty. Moustakas 1 for 3. Singled his last time up. 1 ball, no strikes. Moustakas 1 for 3 against Joe Nathan. Rangers leading 3-1. They have out-hit the Royals 8-5 tonight. Pulled foul. That evens the count in a ball and a strike. Matt Garza, 8 very solid innings plus 1 hitter here in the 9th. That 1 hitter, Eric Hosmer, took him deep to ruin the chance and a shutout. And now he's pulling for Joe Nathan to close this ball game out and get the Rangers their 84th win of the year. Pulled the string, looked like. It says 92, but that looked like the way he swung at it, a little bit slower than that. 1-2 the count to Moustakas. Some very interested parties in Ron Washington and Matt Garza watching Joe Nathan.
It's an intense game. Sellout crowd.
Right-handed to the plate. The pitch spoiled by Moustakas.
A little defensive. Had that one by him. He just kind of flipped the bat and fouled it off.
Nathan, the big sigh, the 1-2 pitch. And that will reach the seats down the left field line. Well, Moustakas hanging tough. Sellout crowd on Fan Appreciation Night trying to cheer on the Rangers, or I should say the Royals, and Joe Nathan trying to pull the Rangers through this one. Get this series even at 1 and set up a rubber game tomorrow afternoon. Another 1-2 pitch. 2-2. Nathan's next offering. Got him swinging. Breaking ball down. Moustakas strikes out, and Nathan completes his 40th save of the year. Matt Garza wins for the first time in better than a month, and the Rangers walk away with a 3-1 win and even this series at 2 apiece. Well, Matt Garza, with that win, evens his career record at 67-67, and Joe Nathan gets his 41st save in his career against these Kansas City Royals.
He made a lot of good pitches. Moustakas was hanging tough. He fouled off some pitches, but eventually he was unable to lay off that breaking ball in the dirt. And it's an excellent outing for Joe Nathan to get his 40th save. As good as Matt Garza has looked as a Ranger for sure, and he pitched a couple of good games when he first got here, but not like this. He had a mid-90s fastball that he located on both sides of the plate, had his breaking ball working, throwing it for strikes. He was in complete command until the Hosmer home run.
So the Rangers get it done. They even the series with a 3-1 victory. We'll be back to Kauffman Stadium to wrap things up right after this on Fox Sports Southwest.